I wanted to do a bonus video for Patreon that kind of expands on the last video I did for the YouTube channel. In that video, I talked about how you might write your own version of like a solitaire card game for FreeDOS using the C programming language. And I mentioned that there's some ways you might optimize that program just a little bit. So I want to talk about that here. So let's kind of look at the code that we did for the solitaire game. Now, I think we did a pretty good job in terms of optimizing it. You think about the programs that are out there. It's not going to be Solitaire is not going to be a very big game, so it's not going to be taking up a ton of memory. So let's go ahead and look at fed sol.c. I'm just using fed editor because that colorizes my code and it makes it look a little bit better. So here at the top of the file, I've got my type definition based on a structure that creates the card T variable type. That structure has two elements in it. One of them is the value of the card, and that goes from 0 to 12, and the suit, and that goes from 0 to 3. Now, we're actually not using up a ton of memory here. Ints are not that big. It's really just a byte of memory, which is 8 bits. So I'm not really worried about how much memory I'm storing only 52 elements that has 2 ints in it. But if I was really, really worried about how much memory my computer was using on this game, I could optimize that a little bit. I wanted to kind of write something here as a comment just to kind of show what it looks like. So remember, the value goes from 0 to 12. So obviously 0 looks like just the bit pattern of 0, 0, 0, 0. And if you walk your way up to it, you remember that the value of 1 is 0, 0, 0, 1. The value of 2 is 0, 0, 1, 0. The value of 4 is 0, 1, 0, 0. And the value of 8 is 1, 0, 0, 0. And that means if I were going to try and store the value of 12, it's going to be 8 plus 4, 1, 1, 0, 0. So if I were going to store only 12 values of 0 to 12, I only need 4 bits. That's not a lot. If I were going to try and store the suit, well, the suit goes from 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at that. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Again, 0 looks like 0, 0, and 1 is 0, 1. 2 is 1, 0, and 3 is 1, 1, right? We covered that in the last video. So to store the suit, I only need 2 bits. So if I was really worried about how much memory my computer was using, I could halve the amount of memory that I'm using to store just the deck of cards, rather than creating a structure for it, but by storing all of my values, both the suit and the card value itself, in one integer. So an integer could be held as, it's going to be 8 bits, right? So it's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the 8 bits. Well, really, 2 of the bits are going to be the suit, and then 4 of the bits are going to be the value, which, by the way, leaves 2 bits at the beginning that I don't really need anything for. But here I'm actually able to store both the suit and the value in one integer value, and that means if I wanted to get just the value of the card, that means I would need to do let's say it was just being stored into the value of card, and that it would be card, and then doing a bit mask using the AND operator, and that needs to be just these 4 bits. Well, remember what that is. That's going to be 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. And so that's going to be 15. And so that should give me all of my ones in that position. That 15 should be, well, it's going to be 4 zeros up front, but it's going to be 8 plus 4, that's 12, plus 2, which is 14, plus 1, which is now 15. So I've actually, that card and 15 would actually allow me to just pop off the value there. And so if I wanted to try and pick just the suit, well, I'd probably want to do a bit shift. And so I do a card bit shift to the right by 4 bits. And that means that it's going to eliminate these 4 bits. And then these bits here at the front are now going to be over here in these four positions at the end. And so if I did that and then did the binary AND with just 3, that allows me to only pick off those 2 bits that are used for the suit. So if I wanted to try and make this like a super optimized program that was doing away with as much memory as I didn't need to use, this might be one way to do it. But as you can see, it's getting a little convoluted to track values and suits. I mean, I have to update my function about, is that a black suited card or a white or a red suited card? That one's not a big deal because it changes where I'm looking along those bits. But you no longer have an ability to just immediately track value and suit. And having one other variable isn't really saving you a ton of memory. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you were looking at one other way that you might like super optimize this for memory, that's one other way you might do it. Whenever you program in C, it helps to think a little bit like a computer, and that's one way a computer might look at doing it. So there it is, just a quick Patreon video that talks about one other way that you might quickly track suit and value in an array, and you wouldn't need a type def. You wouldn't need that structure. You could store it all in one integer variable. But I think that the way I did it in the first demo is probably the best way to do it. Just want to show that here. All right, see you online.